So here we are with Siyata D'Shmai in the midst of the 3 weeks, Bein HaMetzorim, culminating, of course, in Tisha B'Av, the saddest, clearly the most tragic day of the entire year. But indeed, that's only Mitzan Echad, because Mitzan Sheni, Yirmiyah Navi penned Megillas Eicha, who authored Kinnis as well. What does he write? The Megillas Eicha, Parak Aleph, Pasuk Tezvav, Kara alai Moed. He refers to Tisha B'Av as a Moed. And even though the context of the Pasuk itself clearly is indicative of everything but a Moed, clearly the context of Parak Aleph and indeed all of 5 chapters comprising Megillas Eicha, and yet what he says, Kara alai Moed, and it has halachic ramifications. Halacha l'maisa, because Tisha B'Av is called a Moed. That's why we have certain leniencies after Chatzos Hayom. That's why we don't recite Tachanun. We have a nafkaminas l'halacha. It's not stamazai, it's an Indian of a Moed, derech agav, ever so subtly. It has halacha l'maisa ramifications. So in the end of the day, how do we understand it's a Moed? So we have a Shlach Kodesh, we have a Shem Yishmol, Sfas Emes, and so many others far. And some of them highlight the fact that it's a Moed al Shem Osid. In the future, it's going to be a Moed. It's not even stam going to be a Moed Ba'alma. It's going to be the greatest of all the Moedim. Ad Kedei Kach, the Yerushalmi writes in Maseches Brachos in the Masechta Nechrabasi that none other than Mashiach ben David is born on Tisha B'Av. So that's why some of the Mefarshim understand that's why it's a Moed, because it's the birthday of Mashiach ben David, or Al Shem Asid, outside of the context of Mashiach ben David. Lamaisa, one day will be transformed into a Moed. So Al Shem Asid, we know that the Torah oftentimes refers to Inyanim Al Shem Asid. I in the Sugi, the end of the first parak, is the bottom of Daf Yud Amud Beis. We very often refer to places in Tanakh Al Shem Asid. So here also we can borrow such an idea. In the future, it's going to be a Moed. Rav Tzadok HaKohen Milublin even writes in Pri Tzadik, it will be the greatest, most joyful Moed of them all. Ad Kedei Kach, what are our longest Yom Tovim? On a deraisitic level, Pesach 7 days, Sukkot 7 days. It's going to be a 7-day Yom Tov. That's going to be Kol Over So writes, the Heiliger of Tzadok, it'll encompass therein all the hashpas and all the nitzaitzis and all the gevaldige simcha and lebendigkeit of all the shar yom tovim, and it's going to package it all. Can you imagine what a Tisha B'Av is going to be? Take the simcha from all the moedim, and it's going to be packaged into these 7 days. It talks about even another 7 days, and it's going to be the greatest moed of them all. And then you have the Shlach Kodesh that Hashem Yisbarach Lamaisa was shofa chamoso al ha'etzim v'alavanim, thereby sparing Klal Yisrael. Eibishter vents his anger, kaviyachol, the charon and the alf, instead of targeting the Jewish people themselves. What does he target? And let me get the Beis Hamikdash, rather than killing Klal Yisrael themselves. So we have various aspects why it's called a Moed. But in the end of the day, let's face it, it's not a happy Moed. Ad Kedei Kach, famous Satmarov, we discussed the Kasha, the Satmarov, and the Machzor Divrei Yoel, an idea that the Munkat Rebbe, the Minchas Aloza raises in his Divrei Torah as well. I ever wonder why in the world on Yom Tov do we wish people a good Yom Tov? A good Yom Tov, now I understand a good Shabbos. We have some people who say the Arizal even writes in a siddur about Shabbat Shalom. You wish somebody a Shabbos of peace, Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach, and they have a good Shabbos. In fact, derech agav, there's a Gevaldik Meiser of Shach Zatzal, the Gadol Ador in Eretz Yisrael. He used to take a spatzir, a little walk every Shabbos afternoon, and he used to think and learning. So there was a younger man who approached Rosh Shach and he said, Rabbi, can I talk to the Rosh Hashiva and learning? He says, Amani, he says, the best time is, you know what? I take a spatzir, a little walk this and this time on Shabbos afternoon. Why don't you accompany me on the walk and we'll talk and learning? I said, sure. He comes to pick up the Rosh Hashiva on Shabbos afternoon, and the Rosh Hashiva says, no, we'll have to talk in my study. We can't go out for a walk today. He says, but Rabbi, the weather's beautiful. Let's go out for a walk. He says, no, I can't. He says, why? He says, my glasses broke earlier today. You can't fix them on Shabbos. He says, Rabbi, you don't have glasses. I'll walk with you. I'll be Malav at Rosh Hashiva. I'll hold on to Rosh Hashiva. You don't have to worry about the glasses. He says, no, you don't have. Says, when I go out for a walk, having glasses on, when I see someone who looks yeshivish, I wish him a good Shabbos. I see the Hasidish Yidden, I wish them a good Shabbos. If I see someone with a kippah sruga, if I see the Tzionis Yidden, I wish them a Shabbat Shalom. He says, without my glasses, I might err, I might make a mistake, and I might wish a Shabbat Shalom to a yeshiva shaman, and I might say good Shabbos to someone with a kippah sruga, and I'm very mock, but I want to give everybody the greeting that fits him or her, and I want to say good Shabbos Shabbos or Shabbat Shalom without the glasses, I might make a mistake, and I could cause a shtickle chalisha sadas for but a moment. I better not to take a walk. Let's learn in the house today. That's a shock. That's the sensitivity of a Goda B'Yisrael. So I understand Shabbat Shalom, the Arizah, Shabbat Shalom Varach. I understand a good Shabbos. A good Shabbos in Yiddish, it should be a good Shabbos. But how do you understand Frek the Munkat Rebbe, Frek the Satam Arav? And what's a good Yom Tov? What are the words Yom Tov? Yom Tov means a Yom Tov. I'm wishing you a good day. So just say Yom Tov. Yom Tov, I wish you a good day. A good Shabbos, a good day. What's a good Yom Tov? A good Yom Tov is a good day. You should have a good day. A good day that is good. That's clearly redundant. What's a good Yom Tov? Azai Frek the Satam Arav. One easy way out this summer. Okay, let's just wish people a Shabbat Shalom, and let's have no problem. No, the minhag is a good Shabbos. Why? Good Yontif. Why is it a good Yontif? Right? It's the Santa Marah, because we have a Yontif. He gives another teretz. I'll say that perhaps for another time, or you can ask me quietly afterwards. But one teretz he says is because of Tisha B'Av. Yirmiyah in Megillah Seicha Prakal Posek Tezvav Koralai Moed. It's called a Moed, but it's not a happy Moed. It's not a good Moed. In the future, it might be good, but right now it's anything but good. To exclude a Moed, that's not a good Moed. We wish people on Pesach, on Shavuos, and Sukkot, we wish them a good Yontif, because this Taka should be a good Moed, because there's another Moed out there, Dainu Tisha B'Av, that's not such a good Moed. So this one, Badavka, should be a good Moed, Lafuke, Tisha B'Av, Azai Zok, the Satam Rav, and the Masa D'Rayo. In the end of the day, L'chairo, just to minimize the koshi a little bit, we have various terms by which we refer to the Moed Yisrael. We have the Moedim, we have the Moed Yisrael. After all, it's called Seder Moed. Ayin Hagdama Tikkunei Zohar Zman Nakad. It's clearly called Moed. It's Seder Moed. It talks about revolving around the Moedim, of course. And even though it begins with Shabbos, Shabbos Erevim, Psachim Shkolim Mechulei, Shabbos Ikri Moed, so that's not a problem. Shabbos is Tchila Lemekroy. Kodesh, the beginning of the Moedim. We understand Moed, but it's also a term of Chag. Chag, the Chagim, clearly Tisha B'Av wouldn't qualify as a Chag. Chag, the Netziv writes in Hemek Dover, to dance, Rikud in Macholos, to dance and celebrate in a circle. That's why Chag Stam, Rosh Hashanah Tezayin Amanal of Chag Nidona Lamayim. Sukkah Zman Simcha Seinu is the one that's branded the generic Chag. It's all about Simcha Ba'etzem. That's Chag. So Tisha B'Av is not called Chag, it's called a Moed. It's a day of an assembly. It's a day when we get together. We have the Moedim wherein we get together in the Beis HaMikdash to celebrate getting together l'tov, l'shem, simcha, and then we have times l'chayra moed where we assemble to sit on the floor and to cry together. So l'chayra, the koshi is not so schwer. It's not called a chag. It's not called a yom tif. But what is it called? It's called a moed, because in the end of the day it is a moed. But still moed has those positive connotations. Okay, either it's because of al shem os, in the future it's going to be a gavaldik moed, or right now it's a moed celebration in the sense that Hashem spared our lives by being shafach chamos al eitzim alvanim. Or the reasons that many Sfarim cite. But what I'd like to share with you tonight in the 45 minutes that remain, as we talk a little bit quickly, don't worry, we're going to make it. Rabbi Sai, we have a fascinating Mishnah in Tainis Chavav Amud Beis. Amar Rishon Gamliel Lahayom Tov Yisrael Kechamisha Os Rabba Kiyom Kippur. Now this is a peladik Amayim Chazal. You can imagine how much ink has been spilled. The Dorei Dor is trying to make sense of this line in the Mishnah. So let's go to the Gemara. It's Gemara twice in Shas, but Babasa Kuf Chaf Aleph Hamad Aleph. But let's go to the more famous sugi, the end of Maseches Tainis, the bottom of Daf Lamed Amud Beis. And there the Gemara says, let's tackle this line, this memra. And the Gemara says, I don't understand it. I understand. And let's keep in mind that even before Yom Kippur, a Yom Tov D'Oraisa is mentioned. What's mentioned first? A Yom Tov D'Rabbanan, that of Tu B'Av, of Chamisha Osabav. Now we know Tu B'Av, it's a happy day. And we dance in a circle. Gavaldig B'nei Yisachar. It's the Yom, that's what Tu B'Av. Yom Tes Vav B'Av. What's Tes Vav B'Av? Right? So the B'nei Yisachar, the Heilige Din of a Rebbe. The Yom Tes Vav is the Keneged, the Os Tes Vav, and the Av, in the Aleph Beis. What's letter 15 in the Aleph Beis? The Os Samach. What's a Samach? A circle. Dancing in a circle. When did the Yid and when did the girls go out to dance in a circle? Tu B'Av. Why Tu B'Av? It's already there, encoded, encrypted into its name. Zakta B'nei Yisachar. On Tu B'Av, in the Os Tes Vav, and Av, in the Aleph Beis. The 15th letter in the Aleph Beis is an Os Samach, and that's when they saw when they danced around. Gavaldik, it's a day of Shidduchim, Tu B'Av. B'Av, go to tubav.com. Yonas and Uziel, Gevaldig L'Daven for Shidduchim. It's a Moed Kedei. Shidduchim is a Gevaldig Azach. I understand, but to put it on par with Yom Kippur, and not only put it on par with Yom Kippur, but to list it before Yom Kippur, and to call it the Holy Yom Tovim, these are the spitz, this is it. This is the Siyah Gadlus of what Yom Tov is. Now let's also clearly be Medayik. It's not called the greatest Chagim, they're not called the greatest Moadim. The Feiner is Daiti, let's be Medayik. It's all Holy Yom Tovim Yisrael. So that's already the Pesach to answer our question. What's Tu B'Av doing on this list? Gemara twice in Shas, Tainis, Daflam, and Bebeis, Bavasukuk, Chafalaf, and Aleph. The Gemara then says, Bishlom Yom Kippurim, I understand what's the greatness of the Yom Tov. It's a Yom Slicha Mechila, and it's Yom Shenina Bolucha Shnias. It's a day of Slicha Mechila. It's a day that the Torah is given. They come hand in hand. Yom Tishrei. That's the day of Yom Kippur. We're in Moshe Rabbeinu after the last set of 40 days. After he ascended to the top of Har Sinai, Ayin Rabbeinu Mechayin is like the parts of Vayakol delineating the whole transition of the 40 until finally it comes down after 40 days, comes down with the Torah. That's the mission earlier. Chavav on base Yom Chasunos Yom Simchas Libo. What's the Chasuno? It's not Shavuos. Rabbi say Shavuos. It's not Zman Kabbalah Satira. As Shlomo Kluger is Medayik in his Droshes, as Ramesh Shapiro is Medayik in Afika Mayim, and so many other Sfarim. It's never referred to as Zman Kabbalah's Torah Seinu. It's instead branded the choice appellation of Zman Matan Torah Seinu. It's the day that the Eibishter gave it to us, but in the end of the day, we never got it. Never made its way into our hands. Moshe Rabbeinu breaks the Luchos and Shivas of Atavas. That's not the day of the Chasana. What's Yom Chasanos of Yom Simchas Libo? That's Yom Kippur. So I understand it's the greatest day. Why? We got the Luchos Shnias, the Luchos Hachonis. That's the Torah that we have out of Yom Hazeh. We have the Torah, it's the Luchos Shnias, the Nusach in Parshas V'Eschon and Mishnah Torah and Devarim, Givaldik. And what's right alongside and what's even preceding Yom Kippur? The Hoyu Yom Tov Yisrael Kachamisha Asava. And how what's going on? Okay, so we have 6 Shitas brought in the Gemara. Okay, Sheva Midyama was now allowed to marry the Shvatim. We're now into marrying one another. They Masayim Natsi Maracha Ninu Haruge Beitar Dekor. 6 reasons I in the Gemara Laman of Beis going into Laman Aleph of an Aleph and above Babasha Kuv Chafalav and Malav going into Kuv Chafalav on Beis. Gevaldig 6 different Shitas. Fred the Shagasari. And I think with this Shagasari and the Gemara so we can answer our question. Tu B'Av. All right, now to Tisha, we're going to have the 15th day of Av. And that's a day that's on par as the greatest Yom Tov, and the Yom Tov D'Rabbanan you're putting alongside a Yom Kippur D'Oraisa. A Yom Kippur where we had Slich Mechila, where we got the Luchos Shnias, where we got the Yaser Sedibra yet again, and we got the Torah. It's a day of Rachasana. So it's a day, okay, Tu B'Av, other Shvatim. This is on par and it's right juxtaposed to a Yom Kippur. What's Pshat? The Feiner died. He didn't say these are the greatest Chagim. He didn't say they're the greatest days of celebration. Yom Kippur, okay, a lot of people enjoy Yom Kippur. It's a great day, Slich Mechila. In the end of the day, come on, a lot of people have a better time on Purim, and even Yom Kippur is Yom Kippurim. After all, we have the Ariza, we have the Gro, we have Tikkun Zohar, Yom Kippurim. So clearly Purim. Then you're telling me we're only focusing on the rices? Clearly not. Tu B'Av, it's the Rabbanan. So hell, what if you're talking about celebrations? Chagim, we would have had Purim right there in the list. Purim, Chanukah, Pesach, Gevaldik, Cheruseinu, other things you could have put in the list. Hell, what? It's not about Chagim. It's not about Moedim, days of assembly. Other days we assemble for far more time. Sukkot and Pesach. Far more than a two. So it's not Moedim and it's not Chagim. What is it? The choice terminology l'chayra is Yomim Tovim. So what's a Yom Tov? What's a Yom Tov all about? Well, let's go with Chazal. Mishnah tells us in Perkei Avos, Perek Vav, Mishnah Beis. Gemara tells us in Brachos Daf Hayim and Aleph. Ein tov ela Torah. After all, the Gemara says in the bottom of Hayim and Aleph and Brachos Shalosh Matanos Tovos. Nosna Nakadosh Baruch Hu L'Yisov L'Non Ela Yidei Yisur and Torah and so on. Haba. Torah is the first one listed. It's the Matana Tova. And the Gemara says earlier, Ein tov ela Torah. Shenamar Kilekach Tov Nasati Lachem Tras Yadosovu. The greatest Matana Tova in history, the greatest description of Tov. Ein tov ela Torah. It's not the Pshat. The Tov also refers to Torah. State in Chazal and in Avos Vabeis. Ein tov ela Torah. You see, Tov, what is a Torah? So in a Kobeit Zer Yaakov, a collection of Gevaldige Shtiklach Torah put out by Yungalite in the Kolim and Skver. A new square, Gevaldige Torah at the end of Gilyon Mem Zayin. It came out Shavuos time. Rebbe's L'chag Shavuos and Daf Tov Reish Mem Beis of this Gilyon Chidushay Torah published from Skver. So one of the Yungalite, Aaron Bernak, he writes in Megillah Surah Gimel Zayin, it says Vayocha Boaz Vayesh Vayitav Libo. He sat down and he drank, he ate, and Vayitav Yaratos Leiv. What's that? Rashi says Osok B'Torah. Why? Kiski Lekach Tov Nasati Lechem. He ate and drank. What gave him the simcha? You know what gave him the simchas and the Tov Leiv? I told the simcha might have been in the achil and the shtia. Aber the tov lev can only come by one thing, and that's Eisek HaTorah. And he says, Gavaldik, he says, Efshar derech remez. We know that the Mishnah says in Perkei Avos Perkei, Mishnah Chaf Aleph, that ben Shmona Esrei l'chuppah at 18 years old, that's when you get chuppah. Now we paskin, the Gemara says a kedushin, the bottom of Chav Tes on the base, that you learn first till you get married first. Machlokes Reicha Rish Lakish, the Gemara says, there's no machlokes halal v'lhu, Babel and Eretz Yisrael. The Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan, first lo mei Torah kach yisisha. See, he says of Aaron Burnak, I'll give you a nice remez. He says, first you have to learn Torah. That's what at 17 years old, because ben Shmona Esrei l'chuppah, that means at 17 years old you're learning. Why at 17? 17 is Gematria Tov. First you have to be Osik in the Tov, and only after the Tov, then you get married. Then you get married, and that's 18, and that's Chai. So Yosef says, oh, Yosef Chai. Yosef was what? He left at 17 years old. 17 years old, he was learning a Sugya of Egla Roof with his father. He's Lomei Torah, Kachi Seisha. Then he goes down, and only then does he get married, and that's why Bnei Yisrael even writes in the Good Akala, the whole Mokor for Shmona Esrei l'chuppah, is the Torah went out of its way to tell me that Yosef was 17 years old. The Yosef Hayim says, "My nafkamina." Tell us why isn't he married yet? Torah says because he's not 18. First you got to learn. First you have to do Tov. Let's come out to 17, and only then you go to learning. And then when you get married, well, then it depends. Sugi and brachas chesmanal motz isha motz tov motz any mami mobes. That all depends on the nature of the marriage. Hakoponim. What are Yom Tovim? The days of Torah. So now let's go to the Shagasari. Frick the Shagasari. How in the world can you put two Bav in the same level as Yom Kippur? Whatever reasons you're going to espouse, they were Messiah, the cutting of the Atzei Marocha, and the Haruge Beitan, and the Korah, and Sheva ben Yamin got married in the Shroud. Whatever reason you're going to advocate, but any reason in its own right compared to a Yom Kippur, a Yom Shenin Baluchas, a Yom of Kabbalah Satira. How can you stoltzu? They have no comparison whatsoever. Zok the Shagasari, the Simcha is not the reason. The Simcha is the koch of Chazal to darshan psukim, as the Gemara says, to create a new Yontif. Machmas the koch of darshaning psuke hatayra. Zok the Shagas Ayer Balei Gidring in the Gemara Sari. The Simcha was not IXYZ. The Simcha was one common denominator, that of darshaning psukim, as the various Madiyomrim do, to extract from darshaning the koch hatayra. They could create a new Yontif Derabanan. Machmas the return. That's why it even comes first to Feiner 90. Why? Because Chaviv and Devrei Seifrid. A Yontif Derabanan that we created, Machmas our Koach, our Outsam, our Koach to be Machadish. Yom Tov Hayidei, the Koach, the Darshan, that gets placed even before Yom Kippur, Yontif Deraisa. And now it's very good. It doesn't say these are the greatest Chagim. It doesn't say the greatest Moedim. Lefini Yastaiti. Our Shingallah, Hayom Tovim. Yom Tovim, Ein Tova LaTorah. Days of Torah. What are the greatest days of Torah? Shavuos? No, I'm sorry. That was Mountain Torah. We never got it. Maral says, had it made it into our hands, we never would have forgotten it. Shavuos, I'm sorry to break it to you, we never made it into our hands. Moshe Shvir Saluchus, Tainis Chavam Beis. What's the Chasana Simchas Libo? That is Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the ultimate Yom Tov, but there's only one thing greater than getting the Torah and Yom Chasanoso. When we have such a shlita, control over the Torah, like the Shagasai, that we can dash some Sukkim and create the Yom Tov Derabanan Machmas Koach to learn up the Torah. To have a bailus and a shlita over the Torah Chavivin. Devrei Seifrim the whole Yom Tovim Lefini is Naiti Dafka Yom Tovim. Days of Torah. These are the greatest days of Torah. A Yontif Yom Kippur, you can't compare anything to that. That's when we got the Torah that we have today. And there's only one of the Yontif that's alongside that, and that's a Yontif that we created Machas Tekoch to darshan psukim in the Torah and to create the new Yontif mi Devrei Seifrim the whole Yom Tovim Li Yisrael Kachamisha Osabab. Killer, let's get to that Yontif. Let's celebrate it together. Mashiach Tzidkenu. Hey Rav Yameinu Amein Ramein Rav Chanani Manakashi.